Good day, grade 12, and welcome back to the virtual tourism classroom. My name is P Vosloo. I'm a tourism teacher in the Nelson Mandela Bay district. Today we will be working on tourism sectors and specifically a professional image in the tourism industry. Before I start, please allow me to acknowledge the huge role played by Erica Ferreira, who is the subject advisor for tourism in the Nelson Mandela Bay District Zone 1. Erica is responsible for compiling all of these PowerPoints as well as all the notes and activities that will be available after these lessons. Let me also acknowledge the Eastern Cape Department of Education, E-Teaching and Learning Directorate, who have made these video lessons possible. Alright, I'd like to just take you to the CAPS, which is your curriculum, and show you what is in the section on tourism sectors. Today we'll be looking specifically at a professional image in the tourism industry. Our lesson has three components. Firstly, we will be looking at how the image of a company contributes to the professional image in the tourism industry, as well as how the image of the staff of a company contributes to professional image in the tourism industry. And the third component of today's lesson will be activities from past exam papers. Now let me just take myself out of the screen before we start so that I don't cover up any of the... Right, and now we can continue. If we take a look at professional image in the tourism industry, that refers to the image of any tourism-related company, as well as the impression that is made by the staff of any company in the tourism industry. Now, if we take a look at professional image, I think we first need to understand exactly what we're working with here. If you read the definition on your screen, a professional image is the picture that people have in their mind when they think of a company. Now that picture is based on the company's service, on advertising and media coverage. And of course, the image of a company varies from person to person. What one person perceives to be a professional image is perhaps not exactly the same as what somebody else perceives to be a professional image. So therefore it is important that companies have a clear corporate identity, as it is that corporate identity that makes it stick in the minds of potential customers. Now there are various ways in which a corporate identity can be conveyed to potential customers or customers, and some are given on the screen and the rest of them will come up during the course of this lesson. The three that are named on the screen at the moment you'll see is the company's logo, website and stationery. But there's just a note at the bottom of your screen, grade 12. You need to understand that there is a difference between corporate image and corporate identity. The corporate identity of a company is something that can be controlled by the company. And you will see as we go through this lesson that the corporate identity is something like the company's logo, the company's website, the stationery that they use, etc., etc. But on the other hand, a corporate image of a company is the mental picture that people have of a company. And unfortunately, companies do not always have control over that corporate image, but they must certainly do their best to maintain a positive corporate image. Now, on your screen at the moment, you will see a list of factors that contribute to the professional image of a company. You will see the name of the company, the logo and its slogan, all contribute to the professional image. the company website, stationery and marketing material is also a factor that contributes to the professional image of a company. Marketing material, product packaging, and the physical appearance of the business, together with environmental policies and customer service policies. So a company having a professional image in the tourism industry, it's not just a simple 1, 2, 3 and the professional image is there. There are many considerations that need to be taken into account before a company can market itself and before a company can have a professional image. Right, if you take a look at the first one that is on your screen at the moment, you will see that one of the factors that contributes to the professional image is the name of the company. Now, people get to know a company's name. They learn to have trust in the name, or unfortunately, they also learn to associate the name of that company with poor service. It's also important that the selection of a name for a company must be easy to pronounce and easy to remember. You don't want people getting tongue-tied when trying to pronounce the name of your tourism-related company. If you look at the right-hand side of your screen, you will see very well-known names in the tourism industry in South Africa. You have Ushaka Marine World, Avis, Uber, Radisson Blue. Those are all names that we are used to hearing and that we have become accustomed to expecting a positive image from those companies. If you take a look at the next aspect that comes up under the professional image of a company, it's the logo of the company. Now, a company expresses its identity through its logo, and it's also not only about what is written on the logo, but the color of the logo as well, because that is the symbol or the trademark that makes the company recognizable. Before we look at the rest of the information on your screen, I'd just like you to have a look at the right-hand side where various logos are given. The first one is at the bottom of your screen, Mango Airlines. Everybody knows if they see the orange aircraft with the Mango logo on it, exactly that it is a budget airline that offers services in South Africa, and it is also a very identifiable logo. You'll also see in the middle at the top the logo of South African National Parks, and please take note the color of the logo is green, and as you know, green pertains to environment. If you take a look at the right hand side of your screen, you have various logos that are there. You'll see there's a Coca-Cola logo, there's McDonald's logo, there's Facebook, there's Shell, BMW, a variety of logos there. And those are the things that make the company visible to us. The moment you see the McDonald's logo, you don't even need to see the name. You know immediately that that is the McDonald's logo. The logo is used on most visible features of the company. It's used on the uniforms of the staff. It's used on stationery. It's used on signage, and also in all marketing material. All of this together is called a company's branding. So a company brands itself in a certain manner and thereby establishes its corporate identity. The next thing that we have coming up on our screens that contributes to the professional image is the slogan that a company uses. Now, we must just understand the difference between the previous slide, which was logo, which is an image, and now we have a slogan. A slogan is a short phrase that communicates a brand's core values. Now, take a look at the right-hand side of your screen. You will see there is Avis, and Avis has its logo there, but at the same time, the slogan is on the screen, "We try harder." In the center of your images on the right-hand side of your screen, you have Spur Steak Ranches, which is the logo of the company, and their slogan, "A taste for life." At the bottom of your screen, you have the Metro Rail logo, together with the slogan right at the bottom, "Getting South Africa to Work." And then I've left the best for last. There you have a bucket of chicken on the top right-hand side of your screen with the slogan, "Finger licking good." And I'm sure I don't even have to tell you what company that is. Now, a slogan appears on companies' promotional items, its website, its stationery, its marketing material, merchandise. And when choosing a slogan, it's important that the company makes sure that it is memorable. And in other words, I think the easiest way to say that is it's a catchphrase, like "We try harder, a taste for life, finger licking good." But at the same time, a slogan must reflect the company policy. A company website is often called a shop window to the company. It's as if you're standing outside the shop, you cannot get in, and when you're looking at the website, you see all that is on offer at that company. So a company's website is very important as a marketing tool. It's essential that websites must be up to date, must be user friendly, and also well designed, because that is all part of having an effective website, and it establishes the image of the company in a positive manner. Don't know if any of you have ever looked around on a website and tried to find information that you cannot find. A website such as that is not user-friendly and not well designed. So in tourism businesses, we must remember that the website is our shop window, and we need to make it as user-friendly as possible for the potential customers. The next aspect that we will be focusing on is company stationery. Stationery is office supplies, letterheads, envelopes, registration forms, invoices, notepads, business cards, any variety of stationery that reflects the image of the company. If you look at the right-hand side, you'll see a variety of company stationery for a variety of hotels, Harbourview Hotel, Grand Hotel, but each time you will see that the stationery looks professional, it has a professional image, and it creates a positive view of the company, and at the same time includes certain things such as the logo of the company. If you take a look at each and every one of those examples of company stationery, you will see that that particular company's logo is there. On most of them, you will find the name, address, and registration number. Unfortunately, you can't put that on the front of an envelope, but that would be on something like a letterhead or a business card. And then also you will find contact details for the company, telephone numbers, fax numbers, website and email addresses. So the company stationery, if it looks professional, it creates a professional image of that particular tourism-related company. The next consideration is marketing material. Now, marketing material is all printed material with information about a company's products. For example, flyers, brochures, maps, business cards, leaflets, fact sheets, postcards, and posters, as well as videos. Now, just to focus there specifically on the printed material, that is one aspect of the marketing material, where you have flyers, brochures, leaflets, etc. And on the other hand, the online marketing is also becoming increasingly important as more and more people are working online and working with more and more technology. It's important for a tourism-related business to be able to market their tourism product online. Now that they would do through various websites, through online newsletters, and of course social media. If you look at the right-hand side of your screen, you will see that is just an excerpt from Cape Town Helicopters that offers helicopter flips in and around Cape Town, where you have an online special. So that is something that would appear on their website, or perhaps they would post it on one of their social media platforms. The next important consideration when we are speaking about the professional image of a company is how they package their product. Let's just understand the term product packaging. It refers to the way in which product features and benefits are combined to appeal to consumers. Now, specifically in our case, a tourism package is a bundle of tourism goods and services that is sold as a single product for an inclusive price. And then the example at the bottom of the left-hand side of your screen is that of a package holiday which is made up of various elements such as flights, coach transfers, accommodation, excursions, attractions that the tour operator has selected. And the tour operator must select the attractions and all of the other components that of course reflect the image of their company. Just take a look at the right-hand side of your screen. There is a package that is a product that is packaged very nicely. It gives you 5 nights and 6 days in South Africa. It gives you information about what is included in the package in the middle of the screen. Meet and assist, bed and breakfast, all the way down through to visa assistance. And in the right-hand side at the bottom, you will see there are some terms and conditions that are given to prospective customers. So that package deal is put together in such a way as to make it attractive for prospective visitors. And that is also something that needs to be considered when a tourism company wants to project a positive image. The physical appearance of the tourism business is an extremely important consideration. Now, this involves both the exterior and the interior of a company. The exterior elements of a company, that's the signage, the parking area, landscaping. Signage must be clear, must be clean, must also be visible and lit up at night. The parking area of a business must be clean, not have weeds growing through the paving, and it must be well laid out. Now, landscaping refers to what the gardens look like, and it's so important for a tourism business to ensure that the tourist visiting their establishment or destination feels comfortable in the surroundings wherever he or she finds themselves. On the other hand, you've got interior elements, which include the design of the interior of the business, the layout, as well as the equipment. If you take a look at the bottom right-hand side of your screen, that is the inside of the tourism company flight center. You will see that the electronic billboards at the front are specifically have the flight center name at the top. They are red. That theme is carried through into the interior of the business, where it's all painted red. It's well lit. It's also important that the interior of the business is kept neat and clean and tidy, so that it doesn't create a negative image with customers that enter that business. Environmental policies is also something that needs to be considered when making sure that a company or a business is projecting a professional image. Now, let's just understand what an environmental policy is. It is a written statement that outlines a company's aims and principles with regards to managing the effect that it has on the environment. So if we could just unpack that quickly, a company that has an environmental policy, that means that there is a document in place that outlines or that gives information about how the company manages the effect that it has on the environment. A commitment to responsible tourism and conserving the environment projects a positive and responsible image. I want you to take special note of the bullet at the bottom. Consumers are increasingly choosing to do business with companies that are committed to protecting the environment. Now, as the entire world becomes more environmentally conscious, more and more consumers are preferring to do business with companies that are environmentally friendly. And a company that is environmentally friendly is definitely going to have an environmental policy in place. And they are going to stipulate exactly how they are going to limit the effect that the company has on the environment. If you take a look at the two examples on the screen, you'll see that the one right in the middle is of a business that is showing how they limit the effect on the environment by eliminating single-use plastics, by recycling materials, and any number of other options that they give to you on the notification that is in front of you. On the right-hand side, you will see there is a policy of a hotel where they are encouraging guests not to have their towels washed every time that they are used, but reuse them. If you just have a look at the text at the top there, can you imagine how many tons of towels are unnecessarily washed every day in all hotels all over the world, and the monstrous amount of washing powder used, which can pollute our rivers and seas? And then in the same vein, the consideration that they also have there is for using or limiting the amount of water that they will use. So therefore, environmental policies are also very important to projecting a professional image of a company. Customer service policies, that is also something that needs to be considered when ensuring that a company has a positive or professional image. What that entails is a company that is committed to quality service and that ensures that its staff is committed to it too, is more likely to be successful and to satisfy its customers. Tourism companies that deliver excellent service inevitably have a good reputation and professional and reliable image. So what the bottom line is here, grade 12, is a company must have a policy in place regarding its service delivery. The company must make sure that all prospective and existing guests and customers are aware of their commitment to delivering excellent service, and that is going to contribute to creating a professional image for that company. And no tourism company should forget that positive word-of-mouth advertising is the best kind of marketing that there is. I'm sure you all know positive word-of-mouth advertising is advertising that, let's say, you have a guest visiting your establishment or attraction, and that guest has a positive experience. He or she will go away and will tell other people about that positive experience, but at the same time will also revisit that destination, and that is known as positive word-of-mouth advertising. You will see that there are examples on the right-hand side of your screen which entail customer service policy. On the far right-hand side, you will see there is an example of Windmills Hotel loyalty card, whereby they reward regular customers with certain incentives. All right, that was the section that pertained to the image of the company, the professional image of the company. From here on out, we will be taking a look at the professional image of staff within the company. And there is a list on the right-hand side of your screen of aspects to consider when looking at the staff and creating a professional image of the staff in the tourism industry. It goes from professional appearance to uniform or dress code, personal hygiene and grooming, as well as interaction with customers and communication skills. Now, your professional image is obviously very, very important to making a good impression and also to creating a professional image of yourself and your company. Staff who interact with customers must maintain a professional image at all times, because in so doing, they will create a professional image for the business itself. Now, what does that entail? That entails uniforms. Now, a uniform is designed to project the company's image. If the company's image is the logo and the slogan are predominantly red in color, then the uniform is going to be of a similar color or will include red in the color. Now, uniforms are important. They create a professional image. Uniforms help to make a good impression. They also make it easy to identify staff. Staff can also be identified into different departments by the uniforms that they wear. It's also important that uniforms must be clean, neat, and well maintained. All of the uniforms that you see in the images on the right-hand side of your screen are clean, neat, and well maintained. But you could also have a staff member that does not look after their uniform. Perhaps the uniform is dirty and has marks on it. Person's shirt is hanging out when it shouldn't be hanging out. The buttons are off. Anything of that nature. So instead of creating a professional image of the company, it can have the opposite effect. Image and dress code go hand in hand. If employees are not required to wear a uniform, they will still have to adhere to a dress code that specifies what they may or may not wear. So most tourism-related businesses will either have a uniform for their staff, or they will have a dress code that will give the staff members clear guidelines as to what they may or may not wear. And that the aim of that is to ensure that the staff looks neat and tidy and professional, even though they are not in a uniform. So the dress code of perhaps a tour guide who is going to climb onto a bus with a group of tourists up and down the stairs, that tour guide would not be expected to wear, if it was a lady, a high-heeled shoes and a miniskirt, or if it was a gentleman, a three-piece suit, because it's not something that is expected of somebody in that position. But on the other hand, if you take a look at the images on the right-hand side of your screen, you will see that there are a variety of dress codes for men and women. So to go back to the tour guide, you would have a slightly more casual approach, but at the same time they would be expected to maintain a certain air of professionality and wear clothes that are comfortable and that will assist them in the carrying out of their duties. And in most cases, you will find that they will be required to wear a badge that identifies them and identifies the company that they work for. Personal hygiene is very, very important when one considers the professional image of staff in a tourism business. If you take a look at the images and the information on the screen, that is something that is expected of each and every staff member who works in the tourism industry, to bath or shower daily and keep their hair and hands clean. Teeth brushing twice a day, at least twice a day, is very, very important. Men should be clean shaven. Everybody should use deodorant, and it's extremely important that everybody that works in the tourism industry maintains a certain standard of professional image, and in that, personal hygiene is an important component. Personal hygiene goes hand in hand with personal grooming. And some examples of personal grooming have been given on the screen in front of you. On the left-hand side, you will see that that particular image refers to appropriate makeup. You could also include in that information about day makeup and night makeup. One would not want somebody in the tourism industry to be wearing terribly heavy makeup and too much jewelry and overpowering perfume. If that person that's a type of thing that they want to do, they must be able to differentiate between their private and their working life. So when they are in their private life, if they want to wear a lot of makeup and a lot of jewelry and heavy perfume, that's a different issue. But when they are part of the tourism industry and taking into account the professional image that is required of the staff, they should have appropriate makeup. Hair, of course, clean and dry, but also in a tidy hairstyle that fits the profile of their tourism business. Another aspect that falls under personal grooming is nails, which should be trimmed regularly, cut into a neat shape. Nail polish is acceptable unless company policy states otherwise, but one should also remember that although it is beautiful to have lovely nails, one doesn't always require heavily decorated nails to be working in the tourism industry. The last two on your screen at the moment are feet and clothes. Dirty toenails, smelly socks, unpolished shoes, also extremely important aspects to remember. And then also well-fitting clothes that are worn over well-fitting underwear. We don't want our underwear sticking out and being too evident when we are trying to create a professional image of staff in the tourism industry. Interaction with customers must also be professional. That requires that staff must be polite and courteous to guests. Now that excellent service that is offered by staff members in the tourism industry, that is polite and courteous, obviously will enhance a company's image. It makes the company's image look better. But unfortunately, on the other hand, if an employee in the tourism industry delivers poor service, it doesn't only reflect on that employee, but it reflects on the company's image, the tourism business image, and the tourism industry as a whole. The next factor that we take a look at when we look at the professional image of staff is that of communication skills of the staff members. They must be professional. Communication skills are very, very important as the way in which an employee speaks, presents information in person or in writing. And one should also consider that body language determines the impression that an employee can make, but not only of themselves, also of the company. It's also very important to remember that there are various types of communication. There's face-to-face communication, but there's also the consideration of non-verbal communication, which I think in different terms we could call it body language. And the body language of an employee in the tourism industry actually speaks far more than the words that that person says, because the body language reflects the attitude with which the words that are said actually come out from the person's mouth. All right, that is the end of those two aspects of our lesson for today. We have looked at the image of the company. We've also looked at the image of staff. Now we're going to take some time to take a look at extracts from old NSC grade 12 exam papers. You will see the question is there, and the marking guideline is also given to you. At the same time, we will be discussing them, but I'd like you to see if you can answer the questions yourself before the answers come up on the screen. The first extract comes from the November 2016 grade 12 final exam paper. I'll read it for you. Study the brand images of companies below and answer the questions that follow. The professional image of a company is more than just a recognizable and trustworthy brand. It is portrayed or shown in many ways other than the physical appearance of the buildings and the staff. In front of you, you will see there are 6 images labeled A to F of various companies, starting with Key Car Rental at A. B is a fuel company or a fuel station. C is Fleur's Family Feasts. D is Hot Rod Racing. E, Zippy's Fast Foods. And F is Sunset Air. Now let's take a look at the question that is posed here. Identify 2 tourism companies above where the staff must have excellent telephone skills and email writing skills when making transport bookings. Now, before we even try and answer this question, I want to focus and I want to zoom in on the words that you see in the question, and let's break it down a little bit. So, what are we referring to here? We are referring to, firstly, excellent telephone skills and email writing skills when making transport bookings. So you should already be able to eliminate certain of those companies that are portrayed in the image there, because those that we need to focus on are companies that make transport bookings. So fast food companies and hot rod racing companies don't make transport bookings. A petrol station, a fuel station, doesn't make transport bookings. So therefore, it immediately will indicate to you that image A and image F are the 2 companies that we should consider. And there you have the answers in front of you on the screen. The next question, we need to give one reason for the choice in question 7.1. So if you read the question carefully, it's actually a very simple question. It specifically refers to transport bookings, and it refers to excellent telephone skills and email writing skills. So we have selected those 2 companies, but now we need to explain why we have selected those 2 companies. Now, if you consider it for a moment, let me give you the answer. I hope you were right. Most companies or service providers book car hire and flights either through the internet, via telephone, or email on the respective websites. So there you have the answer. You are looking specifically at transport companies here, and linked with that, those transport companies that use the internet or the telephone to make bookings. Then you have question 7.3, list 4 elements that must appear on the letterhead of Sunset Air that will project a professional image. If you go back to the first section in this lesson, we spoke about company stationery that reflects the image of the company, and one of those aspects of company stationery was a letterhead. So what must appear on the letterhead of that specific tourism business? Remember, the tourism business wants to project a professional image. So there you have your answers. The company's name, the company's logo, slogan, physical address, contact details, email address, telephone fax numbers, and social media contacts. Then we have the last question that's based on this example. Give one example of how the companies in question 7.1 may improve their email writing skills to promote their professional image. What is being required of you here? Just break the question down. How must somebody in the tourism industry, an employee in the tourism industry, improve their email writing skills? That's the essence of what is being asked here. You have the answers on the screen. Improve the email skills of the staff through in-service training, and avoid slang words, abbreviations, and symbols such as smiley faces or cross faces or thumbs up in emails. If you want to use that type of thing, you use it when you are communicating with your friends and not on a business email. The next example comes from the November 2017 National Senior Certificate question paper, and you will see on the left-hand side of your screen you have an image of a man that works for South African National Parks. How do we know that? If you take a look at the badge or the epaulet on his left shoulder as he is facing you, you will see that is the SANParks logo that he is on his shirt. Now let me read the question for you, study the photograph below, and answer the questions that follow. The speech bubble I'm reading for you. Sawona, my name is Nkosi Xaba. I'm about to board this helicopter to do a routine patrol of the wildlife in the Kruger National Park. Now your first question that comes up there is state 2 aspects of Nkosi Xaba's dress code that show the professional image of South African national parks. So what are we looking at here, grade 12? We are looking at Nkosi Xaba's dress code. We're looking at what he is wearing and how he is wearing it. Let's take a look at the answers. He's wearing the uniform of South African National Parks. On his shoulder, he has a badge or an epaulet of the South African National Parks, which identify the organization, and also in so doing display professionalism of that organization. So those are only 2 of the accepted answers that could be given in that case. 7.2.2, refer to Nkosi's words in the speech bubble and discuss one way in which routine patrols show that SANParks has an environmental policy in place. Break the question down. What is the essence of that question? how is the speech bubble showing that SANParks has an environmental policy in place? So if you go and take a look at the speech bubble, I'm about to board this helicopter to do a routine patrol of the wildlife in the Kruger National Park. So how is that showing that the SANParks has an environmental policy in place? The fact that the Nkosi is using the words routine patrol shows that the monitoring of wildlife within the park, and that indicates that that is part of the environmental policy. In the same vein, the use of routine patrol indicates that poachers and criminal behavior is monitored, which also forms part of the environmental policy of SANParks. Right, grade 12, we've reached the end of this lesson. I hope you found it insightful. I hope you've learned something, and I hope that you will join us for the next and last lesson based on tourism sectors. Goodbye.